Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, and that means it's the Weekend Big Show here on Law Dog Sports. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, joined by my partner now for quite the long while, since 2018, Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways, and we are here to talk sports with you. As Jeremy, we are 1 week away from some college football, and I wish I could say that the preseason stuff meant more to me, but I just am not there yet. I've got to try to get caught up on Hard Knocks. I've got to start tuning in more to Paul Feinbaum. I've got a lot of homework to do this next week to really get up to speed like I should.
Feels like subsisting on chicken breasts and broccoli, and I'm ready for a daggone steak.
You ready for
Okay. I have gone to watch some Canadian football. I don't know what's going on half the time. That they'll punt it, they'll catch the punt and then they'll kick it back to them. Like, oh, this is new and exciting. Is this some of the new NFL change?
Don't they have
kickoff?
Don't they have like 4 different teams that are the Rough Riders?
I think so. I think so. I think they still
riders.
use rugby scrums, and I've seen things on Canadian football that I just don't understand or get.
Well,
but it's unique and it's entertaining.
Yeah. Well, and I shouldn't complain because we did get some high school sports underway. I mean, volleyball's indoors. If you're fortunate, it's a school system that has an air-conditioned gym. But fast pitch softball also has gotten underway this week, and that is just brutal to try to be out there in the heat that's going on. But hey, girls get out there, do it, and they fight hard, and they get through it. And then high school football camps going on. Did you see my clip that I posted or I shared on the Law Dog Sports Facebook page for
about the Weatherford Eagles?
Weatherford Eagles, and my buddy Casey Scamahorn's son, Cy. He's a really good little receiver. He's not little. I shouldn't say little. He's 6 foot, but he's a really good cornerback and receiver. And then also CJ Nixon, the 4-star OU commit, who I heard them say that he's ranked number 1 recruit in the state. So that's a big get for Brent Venables. And now CJ gets to go out, and I don't know how it works for guys who have already committed in before their senior year. You in essence don't have to go out and prove anything, but I would think that would kind of take the bridles off. You would play with less pressure, and you would get out and kind of go at it a little harder. I don't know.
You would hope. I mean, you could play a lot better when you're free and
that's
stress free.
That's kind of what I was wondering. You're not worried about impressing anybody, so
you don't. And if he holds true to his commitment, he won't be taking any visits. So I'm sure the college coaches in the state and surrounding areas that are recruiting him will just stop trying to contact him. Right?
That's what 6'5", 225. They lay off those guys.
Yeah, nobody needs guys like that.
Well, we're expecting a visit here in just a little bit from Jon Matthews, who is our friend of the program, been a co-host here with us as well. But there's some talk, Jeremy, about sports gaming possibly trying to get legalized in the state of Oklahoma, and that would be an interesting situation because, in all transparency, Jeremy, I'm not a big casino guy. Thanks, Michael Busso, for checking in. He says the CFL is awesome. I'm a lot of great former Sooners have gone up and shined in the CFL, if I remember.
Yeah, they have.
Running back
Roy Finch,
CFL legend.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I'll just, in full transparency, Jeremy, on the casino tick, I'm not a big fan of casinos. I don't go.
I stopped into the WinStar one time.
Mm-hmm.
Went inside. That's the only casino I've ever been inside of.
Yeah.
Went in there, ate breakfast, and continued on to Dallas for OU Texas. That's my experience.
I was at WinStar.
I don't remember it, so probably not great.
But I'm with you, and my thing is like I don't like cigarette smoke at all. I don't want to be in a facility that has any cigarette smoke. We we've gone to a casino before to eat dinner, and when they don't have a true barrier between all that smoke and where you're eating, it's bad on me. But
And that blows my mind that we still have places that allow smoking indoors.
yeah, yeah, and
It
I
kind
think
of it kind of alienates a lot of your clientele, don't you think?
yeah, I would think so. And then I saw, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I know my son works at a casino, and I worry about secondhand smoke for him because I've been in there and I know it's just a cloud. But anyways, it's just a situation where I think sports books and a sports betting room would be something I would go check out.
Well, we've already sold our soul to the casinos.
Oh
We have
yeah, I mean,
136 casinos in the state, most of any state. We're not a big state.
no,
And we have no legalized sports gambling. Why?
yeah,
Why? Why?
and
We
and
have we've legalized medical marijuana. We're on the precipice of legalizing recreational use, but we can't have sports gambling. Why?
well, and you're talking about you know the buckle of the
We have
Bible
racetracks.
too. We've had racetracks a long time.
I mean,
No, but I mean, and so like I said, I'm not your moral compass as far as that goes, and I realize there are a lot of people that have issues with control and things that they lose control of. But I mean, you're going to lose your money one way or another. If that's who you are as a person, and I hate to go all libertarian here, but I mean, if people want to bet on the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to bet on the Dallas Cowboys. Why don't we rake in a
who
little bit?
cares? Does it affect me at all? No, I'm not going to bet on. No, I wouldn't bet on the Cowboys. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, but if I was using it in reference to throwing your money
I
away.
got you. Yeah,
Those prop bets for the Cowboys in the Super Bowl are
I'll bet
probably,
on the Cubs to win 90 games next year. Oh no, that's not going to
yeah.
happen.
And the Astros have been pretty hot lately.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Cubs were hot for about a week and a half and climbed out of the cellar, and now they're crawling back down.
Yeah, and then the Rangers just can't seem to really get it going. So, pretty tough portion of the schedule. But I would say maybe next week I'll shoot a text to John Moore and see if we can't get him on to talk some Rangers baseball because we did neglect, and I say we, that means I did neglect really trying to get him on post trade deadline that week when there really wasn't anything else going on. But we had Mike Steely on last week. Jeremy, that episode's gotten a lot of views on Facebook, and apparently there's a lot of folks out there that remember the cultish style radio talk format Mike Steely had going on.
We forgot to ask him about the swarm.
Oh, the swarm. Oh, Eugeno. God,
Oh, Eugenio, what it is.
yeah. Hey, I don't know. I remember something on Twitter maybe about a year ago, and Gino, I think, popped up on a remote for Steelman, and I think he looks better now than he did back in the early 2000s.
I can't believe he's still alive.
The person I used to see around in 2001, I'm with you there. But yeah, there was so much to cover. But man, if you go to our Facebook page and our Instagram, TikTok, and particularly go to our TikTok if you are on the platform and being spied on by the Chinese. But go
That's
to our
okay.
TikTok and
They're
give us
probably more trustworthy than our own
I was going
government.
to say, do you being any less than Biden? Go to our TikTok page at Law Dog Sports and give us a like if you would. Give us a follow, and we'll post shorts from our interviews and our episodes on our TikTok page, so you can kind of get that. And then also our YouTube page at Law Dog Sports, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and also listen to our podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and Apple Podcast. LawDogSports.com is a great place to go to find all of that. But back on sports gaming, and we'll try to should hopefully be having Jon Matthews check in here in a little bit. But Jeremy, I've never gone to Vegas, and I'll just say this. You know how Larry David opened a Spite coffee store?
Yes.
In one of the final seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David opened a Spite coffee store just to piss off Mocha Joe. That's kind of me and this salesman down in Cabo San Lucas. Uh, I will not go to Vegas strictly because that jerk. He made an insinuation. He said, he asked where we're from, and it was a timeshare tour, and for us to get this really great rate on our stay in Cabo, which was worth it. I mean, because they at least fed us breakfast. But we had to tour a bunch of properties that we couldn't afford at the time. And so, as part of the tour, we had to be, taking around these properties. And this guy, he's a salesman. And so he says, what do you do for a living? I'm in Cabo San Lucas. I'm not blasting out there that I'm a cop. So I'm like, I work for a city government. And he just keeps peddling and peddling and peddling. Finally, he breaks me. I was like, yeah, I'm a police officer. And he goes, I worked in Vegas for years. He goes, I knew a lot of cops. I always called Vegas the city that cops and firemen built. And I said, well, you know what? I'll never go there now because of that. And 22 years later, I can still hold my word, or 21 years later, I can still hold my word.
Yeah, never really had much interest in going to Vegas. It seems hot and yeah, great place to come back bankrupt.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, Jeremy. One thing about I've gone to casinos in Colorado and played blackjack for, an extended amount of time just to blow time the times I've gone up there was for, I think once for a ski trip and then once a couple times for OU games. Went to the Air Force game in '01. So they're $5 a hand. You got some bad sound or something?
Oh
Oh,
no, someone just came in my house.
oh,
No, go on.
we've got a home invasion going on live. Oh, hey,
No, the wife's home.
does your camera, if you turn your phone sideways, will it widen the shot a little bit? Okay, perfect. Because I will say this: it was mentioned by a viewer that hey, Jeremy's always looking like he's in a tunnel. Anyways, and plus we want to get a good view of that great paint job there in your house.
Oh, sure.
Michael Busso says he loves the restaurant choices in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, Busso was in Vegas for a while. He worked out there, so he's your authority on Las Vegas.
Dan Narva checking in from Michigan. Once was enough for Vegas. Something was starting in Vegas in the room next to him. So want to be starting something. Mama say, Mama san, Amaku san. So where was I? I got deterred there by your home invasion. So yeah, so sports book betting. It sounds like that would be about the only appealing thing to me. Would the possibility to go in, sit at a nice lounge area, maybe if there was a game you're watching and bet. I don't know. It might be something I would do once and get tired of. It's hard to say.
Yeah, you go in there, put down your life savings as the Lakers will be in the play-in this year, and with the most nationally televised games. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yep. There you go.
yeah. I mean,
Yep.
well, I think it. I think you and I are both practical people. The bell's been rung. You're not. You're not. You're not. You're not going to stop that from starting. It's already been going. Just
Can't unring that bell.
yeah,
That's
I
what you're
can't
looking
unring
for.
that bill. Can't undetonate a bomb that's blown up or whatever.
Sure.
But the thing about it is with putting it in, I would think that these casinos in Oklahoma, particularly the big resort ones, could could do something even a little swankier. I mean, because you could attract a whole different. I mean, because there are a lot of people that probably bet on sports that really have no interest in going and pulling a blackjack. You know,
You're probably right.
I mean, a slot machine. I don't know. John should hopefully be here in a little bit. We've sent out the invite, and he's a guy who's really got his finger on the pulse of gaming in the state of Oklahoma. So also, but back on our agenda, Jeremy, you mentioned we were talking about watching the CFL, and then I think you mentioned something about the SEC network. SEC network celebrated 10 years, their 10-year anniversary this week, and that's a heck of a concept, really, when you think about it. Coming up with a network dedicated to a whole conference.
Yeah, it's like if the Big 12 would have done that in 1996, it would still be a viable
Yeah.
conference with teams like Nebraska and Texas A&M and Missouri.
Well, and while we were speaking about, the Rat Network having, the mothership and other networks that they have on there, they let go two yesterday, RG3 and Sam Ponder. And what's man, you talk about a mind fart. What's RG?
You okay?
What's I have a friend named Roland Garrett, and that's all I can think of.
Robert Griffin the
Robert
third.
Griffin. Thank you. I might have gone the whole episode without getting that. But RG3 gets let go, and then Sam Ponder. And here's the true, thank you for your service, thanks for coming out situation. But Sam Ponder had to do time on the Longhorn Network. You talk about a kick in the pants. Yeah, you had to be on this, dumpster fire of a network and do programming, and now we're going to let you go. That's just a slap in the face.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. I thought she did a good job. I wasn't crazy about RG3.
No, you mentioned yesterday in our text thread,
He's
he really
okay.
tried to get too cute with the quips.
Yeah,
Did he call
the
somebody
analogies.
a monkey or something? Or
I think so.
did he throw the N-word out one time or something?
He said a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and that's trying too hard. Hey, on the line, we've got Jon Matthews here with us, and Jon, you're just fresh off your morning shift at 95.5 The Coyote, and we're talking sports gaming, and if there's anybody I go to when it's gambling advice or gambling tips, it's you.
Can you hear me? Is this thing working?
We hear you great.
Whoa. Hey, good. Yeah, no, first of all, we've got Weatherford after their News Night appearance yesterday now has become the district favorite in the gambling world. I don't know if you know. They're plus
gambling on high school sports now.
Yeah. Is that not where you start? Is that not where it is?
Jon does find a lot of spreads on high school football.
I'll be down at the T-ball field.
Hey, listen, that's how else do you make T-ball enjoyable? Have you ever been to a U6 soccer game? All right, listen, That's where it's at. The over-under is usually about 63, but it's we have a blast out there. No,
I would think at U6 soccer you would take some prop bets at the beginning as to which kid breaks out of the big amoeba and cherry picks a goal. That would be my thing.
Or which kid, or how many kids are stay actually on the field the entire time and don't just run around. No, sports gambling, man, there's so much revenue right now in Oklahoma that is being spent illegally. Unless you want to tell me there's actual people that are driving up to the Kansas border or driving over to Colorado or driving over to Missouri. On Missouri now, it's going to be in November is when it's on their ballot. So, I mean, it's all around us, and you just kind of wonder, is the state of Oklahoma going to get it together, or are we just going to keep turning our blind eye to all the illegal betting that's going on?
So let's get a definition, though. By illegal betting, you're talking about getting on your smartphone and going to draft. I mean, ESPN Bet,
DraftKings,
that FanDuel.
Well, you can do that, but you have to know what you're doing technology-wise. You've got to hide your IP, you've got to hide your location, but you can't just hide your location. You actually have to set up a fake location so it thinks that you're like a VPN, if you will, into creating your phone to make it think it's somewhere else.
Okay.
So I mean, if your technology's smart enough, yes, you can do that. But as far as what I'm referring to is just you got a guy. So I've got a guy that I actually do all the transactions with. Sure. I call him up and say, hey, I need to put, here's my blah. So let's say I give him $200.
Oh yeah.
And then now that my guy has a website I can go on and place whatever bets I want to bet, not bet. And then whether I'm up or down, which let's be honest, I'm not very good at it. So normally, we meet in the United parking lot or wherever in front of the police station, wherever we're meeting to exchange money and say, hey, I owe him $200.
Okay. See, now I knew a dude that for some reason, even though me being an officer, maybe he knew I didn't have jurisdiction in the city of Norman, but I'm going to an OU game with a friend of mine, and he picks up a buddy of his, And as we're going, he's on the cell phone, back in the old days of flip phones. And he all of a sudden his voice goes quiet. He goes, "Yeah, this is number 27. I'd like to take NC State in the points." I'm like, okay, so you know what you got going on. But you're exactly right, John. I mean, it's such a big process. But I guess really what I wanted to know, since we build you as a guy who's really got his ear to the ground in the world of gaming, would the possibility of a sports book, would that bring more interest to casinos? For me personally, I think it would.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, of course, the issue of that is going to be your mobile unit, right? And you want to be able to say, do you have to be on tribal land, or can it be whether you're in the Cheyenne and Arapaho area, but you want to play on someone else's sports book? Then can you do that from that location, or is there certain sectors of the state that'll be limited to which tribe you're going to use from that standpoint? But I think, just going in to watch the games, I mean, you've already got down in Durant, down at WinStar, both have built these huge sports book with all the TVs and all the everything, just like you see in Vegas. They're ready. The closest it came was last year in legislation. It got out of the House, but then it died in the Senate. And then, of course, Governor Stitt did a proposal where 20% online gaming, 15% if you made the bet inside of a casino. But the only issue the tribes had with that was obviously it wasn't limited to just tribes. So FanDuel, DraftKings, everyone else could come in. I think what's going to happen is it'll come out of the Senate and House eventually, and then FanDuel or DraftKings will either choose a tribe or they'll be part of multiple tribes, and then they'll be able to use their platform, but still make it sure the tribes are able to get some money out of the deal.
Yeah. Well, and that was one thing I thought of, John, was Stitt takes a beating because of his lack of willingness to deal with the tribes or as they want to deal with. I'm pretty middle of the road on that whole argument, but I mean, if he can't really shut out potential commerce from coming to the state of Oklahoma, like FanDuel or DraftKings or ESPN Bet, whatever, he would be a fool to say, yeah, the gaming's solely in the tribes. Right.
Well, I mean, but that's what it is. We have the tribes have paid for a long time, and now we've had it for exclusivity. That's what the gaming compact's all about, and that's why they're wanting to make the amendment to it. That's what because of the way it's set up, the tribes can be. I'm making up a number here. I just saw it too. Last year it was over 300 million that they were off of gaming that the tribes gave to the state, the revenue they paid and generated for them, and this would only increase that. Plus, this is the chance that they have to have some leverage. The state can come in and say, yes, it can be part of the gaming compact. It can be an amendment, and we'll take 20%. We can take 40%, whatever that number is. It's just extra revenue that's going to go to the tribes, extra revenue that's going to go to the state, and then you don't have to affect the compact. But that's the issue. Stitt doesn't like the current compact, and that's when he decided to pick a fight with the tribes and ultimately got his butt kicked.
Yeah, and he's lame duck, so I mean, he don't care. I mean,
right.
Jon Matthews visiting with us. He's a regular here on the show and always willing to come on when we need him. And so you're from Texas. You're from the Metroplex. If Texas passes a gaming compact, that's going to be pretty devastating to the WinStar and the Choctaw casinos, correct?
I think it'd be devastating to a lot of casinos, but currently nothing on the ballot. They meet the Texas legislature, which I have to give them props. They only meet every 2 years. They're able to get together. Well, I mean, it's genius, right? I mean, I think, what do we have, like 150 new bills assigned in Oklahoma?
Hey, the more these guys get together, the worse it is for us, okay?
Right.
They need to stay. I like it. Every 2 years, get together, sort out business, and then go away.
Did we really need 150 new laws? Like, what do we? I think sometimes they get together just to make a law.
There hasn't been
a
good law since like 1960.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And so I like the idea they meet every 2 years, but their point is they're scheduled to meet next year. And currently there is nothing on the 2025 legislation for, but I mean, we're talking, that's short term. Do you think they'll have it passed by, 2030, 2031? Wow. Heck, my daughter, who is kindergartner this year, we were doing the math on that. She is the class of 2036. Shout out.
So I tell you, I'll be straight with you. And John, you know how much attention Weatherford basketball has garnered in the last 4 years. When they talk about CJ Nixon being a 2025 recruit, I'll just say this: in 2022, it took me forever to figure out what what grade of 2025 was in. I hate that stuff. So, Matthews girls 2036 recruits, we're ready.
Yeah.
And I told Jeremy this. It really kind of irks me a bit, but I realize it's marketing, and you gotta pull. You're going to market where you need to market, but when I see a WinStar electronic billboard inside Darrell K. Royal Stadium in Austin, it grinds my gears.
Why?
Because that's Texas. They don't deserve Oklahoma money.
Are you kidding me? Dallas Cowboys Stadium has got WinStar right underneath on the bottom of their scoreboard. They're the official
Maybe
spot.
just think about how much money these people are losing at the WinStar. That's Texas money coming into the state, Chuck.
Oh, yeah, DFW bringing them all. Yeah, they're bringing in all kinds of business.
Because are giving it back to the University of Texas and helping their NIL. That's why I don't drink Tito's vodka anymore.
Oh, no, because you're giving back to Texas?
Donate 20 million Longhorns, all of a sudden I'm at the varsity.
Wow, that's a terrible reason.
I go McCormick's.
Ooh, bottom shelf. All right.
Don't we? I mean, are we, though? We encourage everyone to support all NILs?
No.
Lamborghini, not Texas,
can shut their doors and go out of business for all I care.
Really?
No, it's
they've got that oil fund that they get the majority of in Texas. They don't need our dough.
Well, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, so that's why you're not going to make a donation, but you surely do not want Texas to collapse on itself.
Oh, I'd love it. Yeah. I'd relish in it. Yeah, I hate them.
Talk about spite, Chuck.
I mean, you can't have heaven without hell. You can't have love without hate. If you get rid of Texas, what OU Texas sucks is they're literally their number one thing. Horns down. That's the Jordan logo, right? Is the horns down? That's the reason. That's the sponsor of of OU. Without all of that hate, what do we do?
Well, we've got Missouri to hate on now.
Oh, jeez. No, we need a relevant team. A relevant team, please.
Well, they think they're relevant. They had
this
one
year,
good season the last since Gary Pinkel left.
In the words of all Dallas Cowboy fans, this is our year.
All in.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dallas, man, I know you probably follow it, but they just I heard something today that said that CeeDee Lamb says that there's some good things going on. He's not in camp. I know that. And
must be a trade to the Chiefs.
Yeah. He basically wants the whole 2017 OU receiver core to be at Patrick Mahomes' disposal.
I would be okay with that.
I think I was listening to Mike Greenberg the other day, and he was talking about how this is terrible. Jerry Jones he's a great businessman, great blah, blah, blah. He's a billionaire now, great investment. But he's never been good at this negotiation game from the beginning. I mean, he struggled back with the Emmitt Smith days. He struggled. He paid CeeDee Lamb last year. He's only paying him about $25 million a year. Instead, he lets 4 or 5 other receivers now come into play. So now he's going to have to pay him $35, $36 million a year. Dak Prescott, same exact thing. He negotiates him last year. He's doing fine. But now all of a sudden, who's the Panthers quarterback now? That just made all that money and won, 2 games last year?
You're thinking of Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, that's right. I'm sorry.
Jaguars.
Yeah, so my point is Jerry Jones has never been good at this part, ever, ever, ever. And I think until Jerry Jones turns it fully over to somebody else, which we've been saying that as Cowboys fans for years, Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys spent the least amount of money in any team in the NFL last year, the year before, and they'll currently do that again this year. They're not known for spending money, but that also means that's why they're worth $10 billion.
Well, they spend stupid money. I mean, the contract they gave Zeke Elliott back years back.
Jerry gives those loyalty contracts out, and they never work out.
No. Jon Matthews here with us. Jeremy, can you look at the Facebook page? Because I somehow lost our comments.
Let's see. Yeah, Steve Anderson.
Anybody going out to the Weatherford softball game today?
I think I will.
40 Classic.
So he may not, but
is it too early to say they're going to win state? That's probably.
I was looking at that, Bubba, and I thought, why wouldn't they? I mean,
Max Patton comments the whole state of Texas sucks. I agree.
I'll tell you what doesn't suck, and that's Max Patton's Texas wedge on the golf course. He's got a nice little Texas wedge game on the fringe. So, yeah. And you know what's funny, John? Out here in Western Oklahoma, Sayre and Beckham County, because you're on the border, just has a whole panhandle feel. I mean, you almost feel You almost feel the negative energy from Texas coming into the state from there.
Stop. It's 10 miles from Elk City. Quit it.
Well, you're a lot closer to Shamrock too.
Hey, Shamrock's a great place to go for St. Patrick's Day. So if anybody's
Hey,
ever interested.
I bet it is. What's your connection to Tech?
I paid them money. Texas Tech, a lot of money. I did not get a single credit hour out of it. The money I did pay them. And I turned 21 in Lubbock.
Oh.
I spent one night in what's the county north of Lubbock? I was on my
Plainview County.
Plainview.
Yeah.
I think it's was it Plainview?
Plainview is the city.
What county is it? And it doesn't matter. I spent one night in that county jail.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had a good time. I had a great time in Lubbock.
Hey,
I studied at a place called the Library, which is one of the very popular place with adult beverages.
I spent 2 weeks in Lubbock and back in 2001 for a DEA school, and they said that the library was closed all summer because all their employees had to head home and tell Daddy they're studying.
Went to what do we do? Oh, so drove out to the Strip is what they called it there in Lubbock because it was a dry county or dry city, so you had to drive out to the edge of the county. And they had all these neon lights just everywhere, up and down. It looks like you're driving into Vegas.
Yeah,
and that's where they sold all the beer.
Yeah, we went to a steakhouse that was out northwest of town, kind of going towards that old abandoned Air Force base. And it was a steakhouse that was like set on a ranch almost, and it was really cool. But it's funny, we would go out to places at night because we're stuck there, school all day, and then evenings are just kind of dead. And so we went to several places, but the guy that was a Lubbock PD, we would tell him the next morning where we'd been, and he would just kind of shake his head. It's like, and then real quick story. I got told there was a gentleman who was a really nice guy from Denver City, Texas. Have you ever seen where Denver City is on the map, John?
No, sir.
It is right on the border of Hobbs, New Mexico. And he starts breaking down to me how he investigates bootleggers. and he goes, yeah, we follow them into Hobbs, and you can't just get them for buying a bunch of beer. You have to be able to articulate all of the different varieties that they're going to use for resale and blah blah blah. And I did the whole Doc Holliday thing. I said, sir, my hypocrisy only goes so far. Anyway, so John, you are doing PA announcing for Weatherford Weatherford volleyball and softball this season. And so how'd the volleyball go the other day?
It's funny. I that was the only conflict. So I had to ask, but they won. But I had to ask myself, I tried to pull the two schedules together and see. And I unfortunately did not make neon night, which was at the game.
Oh,
because I did softball where they played El Reno that day.
Okay. So volleyball had neon night?
Yeah, they have these theme nights now out there where you should follow them on social media, and they have different like dress up nights and black lights and things, and it'll be good.
Are the students showing up in force?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Would you rather be outside or inside?
Jeremy, John can really fire up a crowd. He's the PA announcer for SWOSU football, and really SWOSU volleyball is where he shines.
Hey, it's because that team's going to win. That team's going to win. They're going to win.
They were picked Great American Conference.
No, that's stupid.
What's up with that?
Volleyball? I thought were they pitched like second
or third? I thought.
Yeah. No, that's dumb. Have you paid any attention to their roster at all? Have you followed volleyball at all?
I think they were picked second, and then SWOSU soccer was picked third or fourth, which I think is a joke too. But anyways, man, John can really fire up. I would take some earplugs, but John really does get the crowd fired up. John, anything else going on that you want to yak about?
No, I'm excited about football season. 2 weeks away, week 0 for high school football.
Yeah,
I think Clinton's always going to be. It's going to be an interesting year this year. It really is. I think Sossaman has Weatherford the best shape they've ever been in their lives. They had 50. They had to run the Friday tests, their conditioning tests at the end of the year. They ran 50 40s to finish off their practice, and then they're into it. I mean, they're in shape. They shouldn't be tired. It's something we haven't seen before. I don't know if you saw that News 9 clip, but CJ at the very end of it saying that he's got us more motivated than we've ever been. And I think there's something to be said for that. The leadership, I think, is stepping up. I really think now that CJ has committed to playing football for the Sooners, I could see him being a little more all in. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right before you came on, we were saying you're not stressed and you're unbridled about worrying about who you impress, or you can kind of cut loose, I would think.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun year to watch, but the district's wide open, and I, like I said, you don't ever count Clinton out though. And Elk City's also been pretty. They've had a good couple years making their good runs, so I'm just glad we're getting to talk about it.
Elgin is a whole different animal too. I mean, they really just pounded us last season, and they were 5A, and now they dropped down to 4A. So that'll be a tough one. I can't remember if we go there or if they come here, but we'll be on the broadcast coming up. And Jon Matthews, I tell you, John, we really ought to have you jump in at some point in time as Western Oklahoma Sports Night gets kicked up, and we can do some recap stuff on Wednesdays because. Jeremy, out here in Western Oklahoma, they love the Lord, and they don't do sports on Wednesdays. So
that's your break day.
That is
on Wednesdays.
Yeah, there's no sporting events going on unless it's some odd tournament or something. Wednesdays are when I did sports for Right Media, it was the day I could kind of get caught up. So,
well, okay.
Yeah, Wednesday night was
church night.
For the Lord.
That's church night. I get you.
Yeah, it's church night. And sometimes you can. I found though the workaround a little bit. If you schedule a practice at like 4:30, you can get it in before church, and parents are pretty okay with it.
Yeah, kids show up to fellowship, a little stinky. That's all right.
Yeah. Lord doesn't care.
They're going to be a little stinky anyways.
Hey, I like the Weatherford hat you got on there.
Thank you. I think this is one of the youth baseball teams that wore these colors.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we will definitely have you back on in the near future, John. And thanks so much for kind of giving us some insight on this whole sports gaming thing. And I'm for it. I mean, I told Jeremy it could be the one thing that might lure me into casinos. I'm not a big cigarette smoke dude, so if the sports books are smoke free, I can probably get down with that.
Oh, I could definitely see them be smoke free. 2025 is your next chance. Write your legislator. Call Anthony Moore. The House didn't hold it up though. Like I said, it was the Senate. So maybe Brent Howard or whoever, Darcy Eck, Darcy, and we call Darcy right now.
And here,
nothing.
Here's the thing. Darcy did me a solid. Unfortunately, it didn't help the whole situation, but he voted against the veto override of the changing to the police pension system. So I was happy with Darcy for that, and a lot of people. He might have taken some heat for that because it was kind of sold under a bill of goods that would be good for the pension system and for police work, and it's not. So, but yeah, it gets tricky when you're talking about trying to get things through the Oklahoma House, and I think we're going to start a campaign, John, every 2 years.com, and you don't need to be in session every year.
Yeah, I like it. No, it's a way to go, gentlemen. Have a great day. Thank you guys for letting me come on. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
He's Jon Matthews, and he's from 95.5 The Coyote, and then also a guy who, Jeremy, like I said, truly has his ear to the ground in the gaming world and casinos. So back on sports, we talked a little bit about Robert Griffin III as John came on and kind of had to speed that up. Sam Ponder and he get the hook. Budgetary reasons is the listed reason. It couldn't be that. It had to have been the whole croissant throating incident in Paris, right?
Man, that's got to be like 90% of it.
Wow. Never felt like a comfortable fit. And I don't know about Sam Ponder. He's one of those guys that needs some time in the minors. They threw him right out there. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to be an analyst. He wasn't ready to be an in-studio guy. He just wasn't ready. He was too goofy. Yeah. Is that a good word? I like RG3. I hated what he did to us back when he was at Baylor. But he just came across corny at times. And
it just seemed like he needed some polish.
Trying too hard.
Yes.
But I'll say this. Here's Mark Mangino said 3 letters. And
BCS.
Well,
dollar signs.
Different thing with this one, and you might catch what I'm saying. RG3 didn't have the SEC background.
No, he didn't.
They got a lot of color commentary and really Dusty Dvorak's holding his own. I don't know if he wants to expand his role with the mothership, but RG3 being in that prime role, I mean,
I think Dusty would be an excellent choice. I mean, he's done the work. He's been out in the field doing. Heck, he did an HBCU bowl game.
yeah. And as far as play-by-play and color commentary, that, for Dusty, that's a whole different deal. He seems to be pretty happy on Sirius XM with Cannell in the mornings. And that's where a guy like RG3 could probably use the seasoning. Put him on ESPN radio.
Mm-hmm.
And
most definitely. You worked with Golick. It worked with Greenberg was on there forever, and he's gone on to do other things. It's never a bad thing.
no.
Just gain some experience. Find your voice. Don't be a completely annoying tool on the air.
Well, I mean, is RG3 any worse than Greg McElroy?
No, McElroy, but McElroy's an SEC guy.
There you go. 3 letters, SEC.
Yep.
Anyways, I don't know. It's just funny because RG3 gets the boot. Maybe it's like private sector jobs, last in, first out. But Booger McFarland remains employed by the mothership, doesn't he?
I believe so.
Marcus Spears.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Marcus Spears. Let's get into some wrapping up of the hoops as the Oklahoma City Thunder have their schedule released. And I know Jeremy Schroeder was combing over that with a lot of intense scrutiny. I tweeted last night. They showed the number of times each team will be on the NBA on TNT this season. And after I saw that the Spurs and Thunder will really get no play on the network, I hope they go ahead, Amazon, take them over. I don't care anymore. That's kind of bogus that an up-and-coming franchise with a guy who proved himself in the Olympics that he could be the next big superstar. Spurs get nothing. And I don't know, maybe they only counted it down to like 4 or 5 different appearances. But there's so much Lakers and so much Warriors. And
neither franchise is going to do anything this year. They're done. They're older teams. They're not going to. They don't. You got a team like Oklahoma City, young, exciting. They were the 1 seed last year.
Yeah, the 1 seed in the West last year can't get more than 4 or 5 games on.
And then the Spurs with Wemby and Chris Paul,
who
are going to be better this year. The reigning rookie of the year can't get a sniff.
Dallas is on there a lot, so it's obviously
I understand Dallas. Dallas is fine. They were in the finals last year. It's fine. I would understand Minnesota. I would understand Denver.
Yeah.
But watching LeBron, yelling at his kid on national TV.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a disaster. I know you know this, but that is going to be an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, because I don't know. To me, here it is. Games on TNT. Teams with the most games. Lakers 11, Celtics 10, Knicks and Warriors 10 apiece, Dallas and Philly. There's going to be a dumpster fire. You can't. That's not going to be. 9 appearances. Minnesota with
Minnesota,
Denver.
Well, they got the Cat and what's his name, Anthony Edwards. So that's a good team.
So I mean Oklahoma City has SGA.
Mm-hmm.
Now
SGA, Chet, Jalen Williams.
Yeah,
got a good squad.
And Phoenix with 7 games on TNT.
A team that could never stay healthy enough to have all 3 of their stars on the court at one time last year.
Maybe time zone stuff. I don't know. Some of those,
half of them are play-in teams, man. Half of them are play-in teams.
Yeah, they are
be struggling for that 7 through 10 seed. It's just bizarre how they're. I know LeBron's great, KD's great. Well, I mean, they were great.
Some guy commented on there, got to get the Lakers on prime time now before the playoffs start.
Yeah, you got to watch that epic struggle to get the 10 seed.
Yeah. Did you see Isaiah Thomas throw a little shade in the GOAT conversation?
Isaiah Thomas, the Piston,
Yeah, not the former
the guy who wrecked the Knicks franchise and the entire CBA.
Yeah, he's talked about LeBron being the best player he's ever seen. Yeah,
Sure he is.
He wouldn't
Sure he is.
wouldn't harbor any ill will towards Michael Jordan.
No, he got left off the dream team because Jordan didn't like his rear end.
Yeah. So I mean, just with the schedule release and the stuff going on with the post Olympics, we're mid-August. We're waiting for football, and the NBA's got to try to throw something out there. It's just kind of
they got to stay relevant. There's nothing going on right now.
Have you seen? I guess Clay Travis started the Outkick Network.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the guy Ricky Cobb, the guy that does Super 70 Sports on his talk show on there now?
Oh, he's got a talk show on there now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to figure that one out.
It's not the greatest, I'm going to say.
Really?
I mean, he's a lot funnier behind a keyboard than what I've noticed in live recording. But
well, that's very disappointing, Chuck.
be a judge for yourself.
I'm gonna have to give it a look.
But I'll say this: sometimes we've been known for going long, with regard to this podcast, and when we have a guest, we generally, can really get carried away. But boy, some of these 2-hour podcasts, I'm just like, how do people do it?
I don't know. They have time to do it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah. OU football in the middle of camp did suffer an injury to receiver Jahmyr Gibbs. They seem to believe that is it Jahmyr?
Jaden Gibson.
It was Jahmyr Gibson, wasn't it?
Jahmyr Gibbs is in the NFL, sir.
Well, he's hurt too. So
thing with Jaden Gibson, the big, tall, lanky kid, number 1.
Yeah. So anyways, he's hurt, and but they're talking about some depth behind him and some guys that will get a chance.
They got plenty of guys at receiver. That's
Andrew Anthony, Nick Anderson, and Jaleel Farouk. Keep them healthy. See what you can do. But I'll say this: you talk about a MASH unit, and that's the University of Texas running back core. Man, 2 in a week. CJ,
they got 3 scholarship running backs, and they just converted a linebacker over.
I guess I didn't catch who was the linebacker, but yeah, CJ Baxter and was it Jarrett Gibson? No, he's one of the backups. So, anyways, a second running back out. They'd been banking on Baxter to be ready to kind of take over where Jonathan Taylor, but they're pretty big on Jaden Blue. I know they say he's got a lot of speed, and then they do have a 4-star freshman that's coming in, Jarek Gibson. Oh, Christian Clark was the other one, his Achilles injury. But the Sark offense, he does utilize running backs, so that depth issue could become a problem. But I would say in this day and time, Jeremy, there's plenty of dudes on every college campus that can tote the rock.
I'm sure they'll be fine. It's Texas. They've recruited that position extremely well. They'll be fine. They'll be a little thin at first, but they'll figure it out. Guys will get back. They'll be fine.
For sure. Well, and
I'm more worried about Texas up front than I am in their backfield.
Yeah, their defensive line lost a lot of guys. They feel like they've got depth and things like that. So Oklahoma, to me, stuff that we caught from the press conference, and I guess early last week after the in-team scrimmage, it was somebody putting a narrative out there of, Jackson Arnold's not the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently some idiots in the metro area kind of let it catch fire or kind of ran with it. I don't know if they did that for listeners or interaction, whatever. But, you're not going to tell me that this kid's on campus for, full year and a half, now going on 2 years and played in a bowl game, went through spring ball and Here's the thing. Nobody wins in those inter-squad scrimmages, Jeremy, because if your offense does well, the defense is a dumpster fire. And if the defense plays well, then the offense is ineffective. You can't win. So why do they even let anybody report from it? That's my question.
I don't know. And we all kind of agree that OU's defense is going to be one of the top squads in the SEC this season.
That's what they're saying.
And what's always ahead of the offense in fall camp?
Yeah.
The defense.
Oh, yeah.
I reports from the scrimmage yesterday is that Jackson Arnold was really good and everything's fine.
Yeah. Well, and they open up, August 30th against Temple.
You
be attending that game, or are you going to watch it from home?
I might go. We'll see. I'd like to. They're shutting down the whole city that day, so. Well, there's no school. They shut down the OU campus. No school, anything that day, so they can open it up for tailgating. Since it's an evening kick, they're really going to try to create an atmosphere.
It
should be cool.
It just means more, Jeremy.
It does just mean more, and I don't know if you know that yet. I mean, we're talking about a fan base that was it the Henry Hudson's on 240 where the OU fan and the Texas fan got in a bit of a squabble at the bar. And
I actually think that was a Northside Hudson's.
Okay.
As trashy as the 240 one is, I think that happened at a Northside.
I just assumed it was a 241. Yeah. Anyways, the OU fan,
Jeremy.
Yes, the OU fan tried to manually castrate the Texas fan with his bare hands and damn near succeeded.
On that guy.
Yeah. It just means more.
It just means more. It's meant more.
That's right.
So it's kind of interesting, though. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We kind of scan the real estate websites, and the prospect of landing back in our old neighborhood gets interesting at times. But man, interest rates are just so bad right now.
I know. Everything's bad right now. But hey, if you elect the lady running for president, she's going to fix everything.
Oh yeah, everything that she's hasn't fixed in the last 3 years.
Sure.
Anyways, well, I was trying to find out what's the spread. So what's the spread right now on OU and Temple? Do we have that somewhere?
Let me effort that if I can find it. Oh, man, NCAA football. Here we go. And let's see what the mothership has. OU's a 43.5-point favorite.
Wow.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah. AP poll came out, and Georgia a resounding pick at number 1, and then Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. Jeremy, top 8 are just stride with the coaches poll, and then there's just a flip there between Penn State and Michigan, and then OU and OSU in 16 and 17 spot. Going forward, there's under the radar, and then there's just discounted in my book in preseason prognostications. And I don't know, would it be one of the prime coaching jobs of all time if this Oklahoma team ends up being what a lot of Oklahoma fans believe they can be? I mean, nobody's really given their offense a crack at it. Everybody's saying, "Oh, their defense is going to carry it." I mean, what's the percentage chance that you would come up with that this Oklahoma offense ends up being, in the top 25 of total offenses?
Man, I don't think this is a hot take, but I think 70% chance they're going to be top 25 offense. I mean, they've got the guys. They've got a guy who's put together top 5 offenses. Bedenbaugh's going to figure out the line. I mean, he will. He's that good. I don't think they're going to be as bad as everyone thinks they're going to be. They got two running backs that are going to be really good. Plus, the number 1 high school running back in the country on campus that's probably going to get carries. Really good receiver room. They're good at tight end. They got Jackson Arnold at times in that bowl game looked just dynamite. Now, keep the ball off the ground, and that game's a completely different complexion. I think they're going to be good. I think the offense will be good. It's just kind of everyone's scared because they're replacing so many parts. They've got three transfers that have played a lot of college football on that offensive line. They're going to mesh, they're going to gel, and the line's going to be good. It's going to be fine.
Did you see there was some I think there was a story out about last season and you and I think have always been pretty big Seth Luttrell fans.
Sure, yeah.
We were really impressed with what he did at North Texas.
UNT, yeah.
He was on staff at Arizona, I believe, when Mike Stoops was there. They did some good things. I think he came on as OC after Heupel, if I remember right.
Wasn't he on staff with Leach?
Yeah, he was out. I think it was Lubbock with Leach.
Yeah.
So there was I'm trying to see where it was, if it was an article or if it was just some blogger that put something out. But, there's a lot of people. It was an article going at Jeff Levy for the Kansas loss last season. And after Ethan Downs, intercepted that pass,
mm-hmm.
and then they could,
3 and out on jet sweeps.
3 and out on jet. So, I mean, I would think there would be some offensive improvement, just saying, if we are going to try to keep the ball on the ground, we're going to run it up the gut and see if you can.
Situational play calling.
Yeah.
It never seemed like Levy had a feel for that. If it was, okay, we are just absolutely physically demolishing this team, well, let's try a trick play. What are you doing? Stop it.
And I always thought that was the problem with Muleshoe, too. He'd go trick play against teams that he did not. And I don't know if maybe that was just a warning sign to other teams that's there. I don't know.
Well, Lincoln was in love with Lincoln, and he was going to do anything to, make himself look like a genius.
Yeah. Texas and Texas A&M. I don't know. Was there some big news about a press conference?
Yeah, I think they're scrapping the home and home and going to play in Houston.
Yeah. And
is that what we're seeing?
Neither fan base.
At Reliant.
Right.
Do what now?
Neither fan base wants that.
No, man. They want to wear each other out on their home field. You know that.
Well, and not to take the Texas side of this, but I mean, nobody wants to play 2 neutral site games in a season.
No, you're losing 2 home games potentially every year.
What would be the chance that it breaks out to a to an OU Texas home and home?
It won't.
Aww.
There's too much history there, Chuck. They're not going to do that. No, if they do go neutral site for A&M, man, that's going to be wild. It will, because there'll be so much money behind it. But schools won't be able to say no.
You build these, I don't know. You build these humongous stadiums on both sides, and you can, you can draw in home and home, and I don't know. Reliant, does it even hold 80,000?
Man, I'm not sure, but neither one of those schools have great home field advantages.
Yeah. Oh, well, wait, what? I mean, A&M's pulled off some big ones down there.
Sure. They've lost more than they've won. Even
those, though, have been dogfights that their fan base was going. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey,
they're allowed. It is a home field advantage, but it is. How do I put this? It's a home field advantage if it's a big time opponent. If they're playing if they're playing SMU at home, that stadium's not crazy.
I don't know. SMU's picked 4th in the ACC. That would be a pretty big matchup now. 2,220 is capacity.
72,000. All right.
Stadium.
What's the Cotton Bowl? 95? Is it 95?
I think so.
Yeah. And no running water, overflowing troughs. It's all part of the experience. Ankle deep urine in the men's room.
Oh, everybody loved it. Everybody's down for it.
We went, and our seat was right next to the press box, and we could only see we couldn't see a quarter of the field.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
I went 01, was there for the Superman play.
Uh-huh.
And then I went in 02 and was there for the Quentin Griffin 200.
6 touchdowns.
Yeah. No.
Is that not the 6 touchdown game?
6 touchdowns was 2000. But
okay.
2002, Mac kept sending the blitz. And who was offensive coordinator in 02? Was that Chuck Long?
Chuck Long.
Sprint draw. Nate Hibble sprint draw to Q.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Ran for over 200 yards in that game, and they really thumped them pretty good.
Is that the 65-13 game?
No. 2002 was like I don't know. It was like a 17-point win, I think.
Okay. 35-24.
There you go. That
was it?
11.
So find the box. Where's the damn box score?
So yeah, Quentin Griffin did. They knew Hibble wouldn't be able to pass him out of it. So, and I think that was. I'm trying to remember if that was Chris Sims' last game.
Is that the one where he threw the? Was Rocky on that team? Was he still? No, he wasn't still around. That was Teddy.
I think Rocky had left. I don't know, but
that was your Layman won the Butkus.
That was
3. Yeah. Okay.
03 season, Layman won the Butkus, Derek Strait won the Thorpe and the Bednarik, I think. And have we had an Outland winner since our adulthood?
I don't think so. Man, Nate Hibble, 12 of 29 for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
Yeah, that was what kept Texas.
Chris Sims, 12 of 26 for 156, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Hibble at least threw a couple touchdowns.
I think we still had in the secondary then.
Griffin, 32 attempts, 248, a touchdown.
248, yeah.
Yep. Man.
Yeah. Good times. But I was there for that one, and that was a lot of fun to see, because Texas really had a chance.
That defense, man, they held Ced Benson to 54 yards on 22 carries.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Roy Williams, the receiver, not the safety, he never was able to get going against that Mike Stoops defense back then, and Brent Venables defense. Yes. Hey, we probably ought to get out of here, but what's your plans for the weekend?
Let's see. I'm on vacation, so I don't know.
I had a Sam Pittman clip that I was going to play.
Old cold beer, yeah.
Old cold beer. And I felt I pulled it up, and I was going to play it, in honor of our good friend Connard. But I don't know. It kicking a man when he's down, Jeremy. I mean, they really are in some trouble this year, aren't they?
They are. They are in a lot of trouble.
Well, here's Pittman in his post game or his post practice presser talking about.
I'm sure I'll see different things that I'm not talking to you about, but it's what I saw live in the scrimmage. Let's talk about special teams. Shipley kicked.
Man, he sounds bad.
Let's talk about special teams. That's I think Connard Carr was not
he right threw his phone through the window.
Oh yeah. Well, anyways, like Jon Matthews said, I think I'm going to go check out some fast pitch softball today in Dubtown, and then
nice.
I tell you, man, I came into town Monday to visit our good friend Dean Lindsay at Stretch of Norman. And I've been going to physical therapy and doing all kinds of home exercises. Plantar fasciitis has just been kicking my butt for the last month and a half, Jeremy. I haven't been out the golf course in 2.5 weeks, I think. And, just sit here with so much ice and you freeze a water ball and then you roll your foot on it and it feels good for a time. But something's got to break. But I did get some. If I could get in to see our good friend Dean Lindsay there at Stretch of Norman more often, I think it would help out a lot.
Go grab her some of the features plantar fasciitis socks. I hear they're wonderful.
Plantar fasciitis socks. Well, they've tried to sell me on the Hoka big cushiony dad shoes.
I had a pair of those I wore for work. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
And kids are wearing them these days, so you can get away with it.
Okay. What if we got that Steph Curry, that Steph Curry New Balance that he that I remember when it came out, they said these are dad's mowing the lawn shoes or something.
Sure, that was Kawhi.
No, somebody bagged pretty hard on Steph's.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's a Under Armour guy, but I remember the shoes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get out of here. He's Jeremy Schroeder, the ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. Be sure and subscribe to our podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. Leave us a message on the website at lawdogsports.com and follow us and interact with us on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Law Dog Sports. Jeremy, have a great weekend, buddy.
You too.
Jeremy Schroeder, I'm Chuck Ramsey. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.